You to remember, there's more great games responsibly, and so drink responsibly. Calgary Flames are back out at the Scotiabank Saddledome on Tuesday night, November 2nd, when we take on Nashville. Game time, 7 o'clock. Head to CalgaryFlames.com for all your ticket information. On behalf of all of us, my name is Beasley saying so long, good night, happy Halloween, enjoy your evening. Now down to Brendan Parker and Ryan Dittrick for tonight's Ram post-game show, brought to you by your Alberta Ram dealers.
Winning Motor Trend Truck of the Year 3 times in a row? That had never been done before. Then again, neither had a 12-inch touchscreen or 1,000 pound-feet of torque. Never been done before. It's just kind of our thing.
And welcome inside Flames TV Live, the post-game show brought to you by Ram Truck, winner of Motor Trend Truck of the Year for the third year running. Brendan Parker alongside Ryan Dittrick, once again, second home game of the season for the Calgary Flames. And boy, a lot's changed since the last time there was a home game. In the meantime, that was the second game of the year for the Flames. They dropped to 0-1-1 at that point. Since then, they have now reeled off 6 consecutive victories with another 4-0 victory here tonight, a second consecutive shutout win, and Jacob Markstrom front and center once again. First of all, let's get your thoughts on a convincing 4-0 win here tonight for the Flames.
Feels like we've been telling the same story for a couple of weeks now, but it's been totally impressive from this team. It just felt like it was kind of a continuation of what we saw on that road trip. Quick start, didn't trail. Rode it home, got some timely offense, and obviously Jacob Markstrom was sensational again. Maybe a little less busy than he was the other night in Pittsburgh, but when he needed to be, he was excellent, and he's been excellent all year for the Flames to this point. So at different points on this winning streak, different parts of the game has been firing for the Flames, and it feels like at times if the offense isn't scoring, Markstrom's been there to bail them out. Tonight's where Markstrom's been good, the offense has been there along with it, so everything's kind of clicking along right now for this team in all areas.
Yeah, well said. And one of the only thing that's different is the fact that they didn't have the lead coming out of the first period, because in each of those 5 wins, they had a lead coming out of the first period. The only thing that changed a little bit, but all they did really was delay the inevitable, which was they did score that first goal for the first time. I believe, by the way, that's 7 consecutive games they've scored the first goal of the game. The other one, of course, back here against Anaheim, that one eventually fall in extra time, but nevertheless, they get the victory here tonight. Let's take a look at the highlights here this evening as we run through what we saw. And as we talked about, no score in the first period, so we begin these highlights in the second period. And it's on the power play where they struck twice here tonight, but this was the first one, Rasmus Andersson finding Sean Monahan in the slot.
You and I were sitting here watching the game, and we talked about it. Not nearly enough movement on the Flames power play last year, but we see it. Rasmus Andersson's your one-time option, playing the top point. He was over on the left circle, rotates all the way down, and he's looking for Sean Monahan's tape the entire time. fires a dart in there. Monahan makes no mistake.
So Monahan's got his first goal of the season, and that would kind of carry into where the third period and the offensive eruption from the Calgary Flames. This one, another power play marker. Matthew Tkachuk ends up finishing off a beautiful passing play here.
Was he good tonight or what? Matthew Tkachuk all over the ice. And we've seen that between the legs move a couple of times at points in his career. I don't think we've seen it very often that eventually sets up his own goal. So he's adding a little bit to the repertoire there. He had a great night, which we'll touch on a little bit more later.
Yeah, absolutely. Starts and finishes that power play marker. So now it's 2-0 at that point, and it continues into the even strength. The Flyers pull their goaltender fairly early, around the 4-minute mark or so. Michael Backlund scores into the empty net there. This one starts in your own zone. Tyler Pitlick earns his first assist as a member of the, actually second assist as a member of the Calgary Flames.
Michael Backlund picks up career point number 400 the other night, adding to the total already, so he's riding the wave as well.
So you get the empty netter, and then back now, this one at even strength, and nicely finished off here, Johnny Gaudreau. Finding some room in the offensive zone, and he's not going to make a mistake too many times in that spot.
Yeah, you know, and speaking of continuations, Daryl Sutter said it a few times. Johnny Gaudreau's had a bit more of a shooter's mentality this year. Looks off Lindholm there, kind of uses him as a decoy, and then uses the defenseman as a screen. So he's got a great shot. The fact that he's maybe feeling a little bit more comfortable and confident with it right now, especially late in the game when it's already kind of salted away, it just shows that he's in the right place for this Calgary Flames team right now.
It should mention, by the way, that that point isn't meaningless. I know it's a 4-0 goal in a 4-0 hockey game, but Johnny Gaudreau extends his point streak now to 7 games. So the only game that he did not have a point in was the very first game of the season. Since then, he's reeled off 11 points in his last 7 games. So Johnny Gaudreau obviously on fire, among the tops in scoring in the National Hockey League, is number 13. And maybe before, we're going to hear from head coach Daryl Sutter here in just a moment, guys, and we'll cue that up in a sec. But it's hard to go much further than to talk about Jacob Markstrom a little bit here. I think, you know, we could reel off a number of different stats, but, you know, back-to-back shutouts, third one of the season. Most he's had in a season, his career high is 3, which was last year here in Calgary, and he's already matched that through 6 starts here this season.
You know, it's funny, we talk to Jacob Markstrom on a fairly regular basis, and he doesn't really like to give himself too much credit in a game. Always feels that there's an opportunity to be better. And the other night in Pittsburgh, a lot of credit given to his teammates, saying it was sort of a team shutout. But, you know, when you make 45 saves, it's a little bit hard to make that claim, I think. So today, a little bit more of a tidy defensive effort from the team, which you'd expect to see. I mean, you know, end of a long road trip in Pittsburgh, legs were getting a little bit heavy, but to come home and deliver a defensive effort like that and then get the solid backbone of Markstrom in the process, it speaks to how, like I said off the top, everything's clicking for the team right now.
126 saves on 127 shots.
Is that good?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Obviously, there was only the one goal that beat him on that entire road trip in 3 starts, and so now you carry it in back at home. And maybe, again, just before we get to coach here, you know, when you talk about bringing that road game home, everyone always kind of points to that first game when you return home from a long road trip, especially one where you've had some success. Yeah. Blake Coleman talked about it yesterday here at the Scotiabank Saddledome, just that, you know, the tendency can be you feeling good and maybe you naturally just kind of lift the foot off the gas just a little bit. You know, what did you see in that respect about carrying some of that road success back here at home? Yeah,
I mean, you said it. We often kind of consider it a trap game, right? You come home and maybe you rest up a little bit too much. You kind of breathe a little bit, and then you have to step right back into the fire. But that can be difficult to do when you're traveling from city to city and putting in those road efforts. Like, you were on the trip, you know exactly what that travel can do to the body. But what they did well, and I think this needs a lot of credit for Daryl Sutter and the coaching staff, they didn't come home and take the day off like you might normally see after a long trip. They brought the guys back to the Saddledome here yesterday. Didn't practice, but had a little bit of an off-ice workout, a couple of meetings, sort of kept them in the routine, right? Kept that rhythm going. And tonight, they made a Philadelphia Flyers team look like the Flames should have in Pittsburgh with those heavy legs, but they didn't have it. So the fact that they were able to turn it around on them and bring a really complete effort home, I think really speaks to how the preparation was really on point here.
Well said. All right, let's get some thoughts from the head coach. 4-0, the Calgary Flames shutout victory here on home ice. Daryl Sutter at the podium now. Let's listen to what he thought of tonight's game.
Coach, nice to see Sean Monahan finally get a goal.
Yeah, it's good to see him get some opportunities. I think more than anything, he hasn't had many. So tonight he probably had, I don't know, he ended up with shots, but he probably had 3 or 4 good opportunities.
But just building off that, Daryl, you know, with Sean in terms of his role on even strength. It's not the same as he's been used to. Is that how has he handled that? And
I think he's been awesome. He's got a great attitude and works hard, and said it many times in the dressing room. It's not a top heavy lineup for us. You got to spread it out, and everybody's got to accept their role and go from there.
just building off that, when the team has success, is that easier for guys to accept those kind of roles?
I would think so. I mean, you want to win games first and foremost.
Daryl, third shutout in 6 games. Maybe just a thought on Jacob's start to the year overall.
Well, tonight was a concern because he didn't have much work for 2 periods other than handling pucks, around the net and things like that. We didn't have many shots tonight, but he made, when it was 2-0 and 2-on-1 on, I think it was Couturier. That save is a big save. So you got to make big saves. Shutouts are not something that, they don't happen very often. So hopefully there's many more for him in his career.
Was this kind of a team shutout on that respect? Like, do you feel like your team was maybe the best in front of him tonight all season?
Well, we're pretty good. I mean, it's hard to, these guys went through a lot, and that's 8 games in 15 days with a lot of time zones and a lot of late nights and a lot of travel. So it has to be a team game to win.
So we've seen that before over the years. Historically, that first game back after a long road trip can be a tough one, but it wasn't. It didn't seem that way for you guys. Just any secrets there?
No, I just think that we talked about the game in Pittsburgh being a home game for us because we were kind of on our way home, stopped and played there. So.
Daryl, maybe how would you assess just the puck movement of the team today?
Pardon?
Just how would you assess the puck movement of the team today, especially on the power play?
Well, I think the power play was going to be important, and I thought it would be the difference. The special teams ended up being that, and I think the second goal, you're probably asking about that one because those 3 guys moved the puck so good on it. So you got to move the puck against the defense that covers the front of the net first. They were hard to get inside on.
Wes? I'm good. No, I'm good.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Happy Halloween. I'm going to dress up like Brian Burke.
Yeah.
Yeah, wear a tie and red wig.
There's a little smile from the head coach, Daryl Sutter. Happy Halloween indeed. The eve of Halloween tonight, and of course the trick or treating all set for tomorrow. All right, let's talk a little bit about Matthew Tkachuk because I think one of those guys that stood out in a game like this. You heard it there from Daryl Sutter talking about, in particular, the power play and that sequence that sets up that second power play goal. But I think he finishes with 7 shots here tonight, and obviously in and around it throughout it. So. What stood out to you about number 19 here tonight and eventually rewarded with that goal?
Probably the biggest thing, as Daryl Sutter said it, that Jacob Markstrom wasn't overly busy through 2 periods. Well, take a look at what the Philadelphia Flyers had. 6 scoring chances through 2 periods. Matthew Tkachuk on his own had 5, including 4 from the high danger areas. So he was all over it. And to be honest with you, Brendan, we've been talking about him since day 1 of training camp as a guy that's been dialed in and ready to go. And we saw it multiple times. The hands were going tonight. He had the physical edge. He was in the face of the other team all night long too. So he's always at his best when he's got a little bit of that edge to his game. The key is don't cross it. He didn't. He kind of used it to his advantage, and we see here right in those scoring areas. That's where he's so successful, in and around the blue paint. And then of course you get the flash as well, absolutely. Which is not a bad little thing. By the way, that's a very big smile from Matthew Tkachuk. We don't see them like that from him very often. Yeah, 3rd of the season for Matthew Tkachuk there. That finishes off that play, which, as you mentioned, beautiful way to start it. A little touch pass between the legs, and then it finishes it off. The nice tic-tac-toe passing. I believe we have a couple of guys at the podium there as well. Do you guys get to? All right, we're going to continue the post-game show and listen in a couple of players, Jacob Markstrom and Sean Monahan at the podium now. Let's hear what they had to say about the 4-0 victory here tonight over Philadelphia.
Sean, must feel pretty good to get rewarded with a goal and some pretty good chances tonight.
Yeah, it was obviously nice to put one in, and good timing to do it too. Put us up 1, and we carried on with that.
Has it been frustrating this year? A lot of people measure things in goals and assists, but your role's changed a little bit. Has it been a frustrating season for you?
No, it hasn't at all. It's never frustrating when you're winning games, and I think we have a good team, and we just won 6 in a row. So we're still not satisfied with what we're doing, but yeah, I mean, we're on the right page right now.
Jacob, do you ever remember being on a roll like this before? 3 shutouts and 4 outings?
No, probably not. But I mean, we're playing really good hockey. It was a lot of shots last game, but then today we come in and they get 4 or 5, and then we're up by 2 in the third, and they get 10, 11 shots with a couple power plays and 6 on 5 for quite some time. So the guys are playing unreal. Penalty kill was great, and it's nice to get a goal from power play, and that was the big difference maker. And then obviously at the end when they were pushing for a goal, we shut it down and we scored a few more.
Sean, it seems like Jacob's going to give most of the credit to you guys, but can you just sum up what he's done behind you guys to get 3 shutouts in a 4-game stretch like he has?
Yeah, I mean, he's playing really well, and I mean, he's a huge part of our team. So I mean, he had another great game tonight, and yeah, I mean, we got to keep it rolling. I mean, our PK has been good. Guys are stepping up, blocking shots, and I mean, we're trying to limit quality chances. And when there's a quality chance, Marky's standing on his head.
We've talked in this city, as you know, for a long time about starts to seasons. What does this 6-1-1 now for the month of October? What does this kind of start mean for your group?
Yeah, I mean, I think our group's hungry, and I think coaches have us in a good mindset where, I mean, you want to start games the right way, and I mean, when you do that, and now we're starting to learn to play with leads, and I think, I mean, that's crucial. I mean, at the important times of the season.
Jacob, for those of us who have never played your position, can you kind of elaborate on the difference between a game like a Thursday night where you face 45 shots and the challenge of a game tonight where you're far less busy, and what you have to do differently, or just how that affects you?
I mean, the other night was more physical, but mentally you were in it. You got a lot of shots and you get to see a lot of pucks, and you get to feel the puck. Today was more mental, to stay really focused and don't get derailed, and watch our guys play a great game in front of me. Is I don't mind it at all, but it's just a little bit more important to kind of stay focused even when the puck is not in my end. So you trying to track the puck, even if it's in the offensive zone.
Fist bump when you finally get that second goal of support there?
No, game wasn't over yet, so.
Jacob, how much of it is just being more comfortable in your second season, getting to play with these guys again? Just how much has that played into your success so far this year?
Well, we haven't done much yet. It's a lot of games left, so it's come springtime we need to be our best team and play our best hockey. But it's a good start. We put ourselves in a good position so far. But I don't think no one is happy, and everybody that was here last year remember the sour taste of that season. It was no fun at all, and especially not winning hockey games. So I think everybody's hungry and wanna play good, and I think. Our system is more down to a T now, and Daryl got a full training camp as a head coach. So I think everybody's buying in, but we got to keep going and keep working away.
Sean, back to your change or just the difference in kind of your regular 5-on-5 role. Has it been easier to accept and kind of get it and buy into it when the team is having that success?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a team game, and when you're a part of a team, you got to accept roles and do the best job you can at it. So I think we got a good team. We're winning games, and I have no complaints.
Sean, when you said just earlier the team's still not completely satisfied with where you're at, could you maybe elaborate on some of the things you maybe want to improve on or keep growing as a team?
Yeah, I mean, it's only 8 games into the season. I think that's we haven't really proven anything or done anything yet. So I mean, that's where our heads are at. I think it's a long season, and I mean, we want to keep this rolling throughout the year.
One last one, Sean, on that power play goal, the pass from Anderson. I mean, you've seen some nice plays over the years, but that's your sweet spot, is being in front there, and that was a nice play, hey?
Yeah, I mean, Razzy's been playing great, and I mean, he's moving the puck really well. So I mean, you get open, he's going to find you, and fortunately enough tonight, he found me right on my stick.
We call it the Ram 1500 Limited. But, truth be told, there's nothing limited about it. Ram 1500, winner, J.D. Power Award for Best Driver Appeal.
Welcome back to Flames Postgame Live, brought to you by Ram Truck, winner of Motor Trend Truck of the Year for the third year in a row. It is our second home game, second postgame show of this year. Ryan Dittrick, Brendan Parker alongside, and it's a 4-0 Calgary Flames shutout victory over the visiting Philadelphia Flyers, opening up this 4-game homestand at the Scotiabank Saddledome. Convincing win, as we kind of talked about, touched on a number of topics off the top, but there, just listening to Jacob Markstrom, who we spoke about earlier in this postgame show, and then Sean Monahan, who gets his first of the year as well. And maybe let's just dive in a little bit longer on Sean Monahan. A night that, you know, he had a number of opportunities. The power play was really clicking tonight in terms of getting some looks and getting some opportunities. But 23 capitalizes on one. What did you see from him and his work tonight?
This guy has been through a lot over the past calendar year, and he's been very forthcoming in all his conversations with us and the rest of the media about what he dealt with last year before getting that hip surgery. It was affecting his day-to-day life. He said he couldn't even bend down without suffering, you know, some immeasurable pain. So the fact that he's back there and doing what he does best, scoring goals, we know that's his bread and butter. Little bit of a slow burn, of course, to get going this year, but you know what? That was a huge offseason for him to be able to recover and get back up to full speed. So he looked more like the Sean Monahan we're used to seeing on a regular basis. 5 shots on goal tonight, so he was buzzing along. And you know what? Along with the even strength ice time, which we talk so much about, he was especially effective on the power play, and that completely changes the dynamic of the Flames offense when he's going in that area of the game. Yeah, we saw in that little highlight sequence, you know, Johnny found him once in the slot, and then Matthew as well. Some opportunities, which starts to look like, you know, what we've come to know about that power play and where they start to get some of those really dangerous scoring opportunities. Just quickly show you back, you know, you talked about what he went through last year, and I think, you know, he spoke about how early on in the season, I don't think anybody had any clue that it, you know, set that early. But here's a look at the last goal that Sean Monahan scored back on April 23rd of 2021. So nice to see Sean Monahan chiming right back in. But here's the one that we're referencing all the way back to April, and what a different look. Eh? There's the tarps are back out again. I forgot about that. Oh goodness, yeah. Hopefully we never have to see that again. Yeah, exactly. Sure. Right. It looks a lot better when the crowd is erupting. And either way, there was the last one from Sean Monahan, and then here's the look at one tonight, and right on top of that blue paint, and beautiful setup there by Rasmus Andersson. By the way, Rasmus has a pair of assists here tonight. It gives him 7, I believe, on the year, 6 on the year. Assist-wise, so you know, really starting to quietly start to churn up some assists and some helpers on that back end, and really looking comfortable leading that #1 power play unit. Yeah, and he said that's something that he's been obviously training for over the course of his NHL career, but he did it so successfully in Barrie of the OHL for many years with Andrew Mangiapane, believe it or not, on that team as well. So he's used to it. To see it translating to the top level now is good to see. I do have to mention one thing too. As we were sitting there watching that interview with Monahan and Jacob Markstrom, we were kind of talking about how we did a podcast interview with Markstrom a few months ago now. Yeah, just before the season started, training camp started. Yeah, and both of those two guys at the podium there are two very proud people. They wear the disappointment of last year. They feel it. A lot of guys will turn the page and kind of, you know, just forget about it and try to start fresh when the new season starts. These are two guys that remember how it felt. Yeah. And they use that as motivation. We're seeing it here early in the season. And hopefully a night like tonight for Sean Monahan is sort of the springboard to better things now. Well said. And that does it for us. Recapping a 4-0 victory here for the Calgary Flames. Thanks for doing it. And Halloween? Halloween. What are you dressing up as? Well, I got something here, I guess. It's not very, you know, I meant to do this earlier because now it's just going to be awkward. This is a... That's pretty good. It's not great. Did you win that in a cereal box, or? Well, this was a tribute to Mitch Nybo, who gave me this. Apparently, there's some history there, but oh goodness, you know, I feel like after a win, you can go to the. After the happy Halloween we got from the head coach, I'm kind of curious to see what his costume looks like tomorrow. Maybe he'll let us in at practice. Yeah, we'll do some digging tomorrow. But nevertheless, we can tell you that that does it for Flames Postgame Live. That's it. Brought to you by Ram Truck. I'm sure they're very proud right now, driving around in their Ram trucks. 4-0 the final here tonight. The Calgary Flames shutout wins in back-to-back hockey games. The win streak continues. It moves to 6. And up next, the homestand continues as they welcome the Nashville Predators. Same time, 7 o'clock. Actually, we started at 8 tonight. It feels late. 7 o'clock start against the Nashville Predators. That's coming up on Tuesday night as that homestand continues
Flames make it 6 in a row. The winning ways continue, home and away, for the Calgary Flames. We'll look forward to seeing you back at the Scotiabank Saddledome on Tuesday night. Thanks for watching Flames Post Game Live.